What if the Jets are good this year? What if Zach Wilson is good this year?
Yeah, I hit on this on my podcast a little yesterday. Right.
The guy.
Yeah.
What if he becomes the guy that they've hoped for him to be? What the hell do they do next year after Wilson starts 16 regular season games, wins the Bills game off the bench under the worst possible circumstances? They get to the playoffs. What if they get to the playoffs and have success there with Zach Wilson? What the hell do you do in 2024? Oh, that's a good problem to have. No, it's not. That's a problem. That's a real problem to have. The only good problem is no problem. And if you have to pause, if you have to hesitate, if you have to think at all about what you're going to do in 2024, you got a problem. Because good luck getting Zach Wilson to go back to the bench for 2024 if he becomes really good this year. Now, you know what they would do? I think they would just have to trade him. They'd have to trade him because he'd have trade value if that all happens. If everything I said happens, he has trade value, and you send him to somebody else and you say, good luck and Godspeed, and we'll just have a different plan post
you're gonna trade. You're gonna trade.
But then they're screwed.
But you're gonna. That's what I mean. You're gonna trade a guy who you drafted at number 2, who has a good year. That you're saying, okay, I know this is all just hearsay. Going to the playoffs, and he could be your guy for 10 years.
Not hearsay.
Yeah, or whatever. You got it. It's all speculation. Okay, then he goes.
It's just some lawyer term.
Yeah, but then he goes to the playoffs, and we're going to get rid of the guy who could be our starting quarterback for 10 years for a guy that's only here 1 year? I don't know. If that scenario unfolds like that, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the one that gets traded, honestly. That's what would be my 2 cents. Like if
to the Vikings? To the Vikings?
Sure, maybe. I mean, but that's kind of how I would view it. If I saw Zach Wilson have a great year and I'm the New York Jets ownership in the front office and he plays well and they go to the playoffs and he looks good in the playoffs, I would be going, wait, we're good. We got the future. That's it. We're locked up at quarterback here for a while. We're going to throw it away for a guy for 1 year, 41 years old, coming off an Achilles? No, I think it would be the opposite. I think if that scenario did happen, right, I think that it would be more of, no, I think we're going to trade Aaron Rodgers. Aaron, where would you like to go and play quarterback next year? Because, hey, you're smart. You see what happened here. It's a tough situation. We're going to go with the young guy. Crazy.
This isn't unprecedented.
Yeah.
This isn't unprecedented. It happened 7 years ago in Dallas.
Yeah.
It did.
Exactly right.
Tony Romo,
exactly
back injury.
Right.
Dak Prescott plays great. It became, remember there was a press conference like November or so where Tony Romo basically surrendered the job to Dak Prescott, and that's it. Now, he never played again, but if Rodgers intends to play again, the night is darkest before the dawn, and I shall rise yet again. If he means that, and look, there's a hell of an if underpinning this entire point, but we would be foolish in not doing our job if we ignore it. If Zach Wilson becomes the guy that they thought he was going to be when they used the second overall pick, and they won the other night against the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, when Zach Wilson had no opportunity to really appreciate or understand. You told me that on Tuesday. Like, you have your own experience. You're on the sideline, and you're talking to people, and you're all of a sudden it's like, oh, crap, I got to go play. And Zach Wilson won that game. I just, man, that's a hell of an angle. And I think the Jets will know if Wilson does enough that they have to keep him. But, God, now, look, ideally you convince him to go back on the bench for a year.
Yeah.
And maybe he will. He didn't jostle to get out last year after they were apparently done with him.
Yeah. But that wasn't. We're saying he having a good year and going to playoffs. That's a different mindset to what you started off with.
Yeah,
he's going to be like, "What? No. I'm kind of the man. Did you see our schedule this year? We went to the playoffs. I was the quarterback, right? I mean that would be different than last year, where his only options were sit in the back row and listen to what they tell you, or go, I don't want to be here anymore and get traded." This would be different, and he would have some power here in this situation. So, I mean, listen, it's an interesting angle. It's something certainly I had thought about as well. That, where does this go, with a lot of different scenarios as far as Zach Wilson's play and all of that. But that's probably the most interesting one, altogether right there. If he plays good, what do they do after that?
And we know how quickly the fans will embrace a guy like this. And this is grist for the New York Jets fan base mill. The idea that it's a guy that they loved and they hated and they loved and they hated. And now if this season goes well, and again, that's a big if.
Yeah.
But if they play well, if they win games, if they become contenders, they're going to love them some Zach Wilson. And so how are they going to feel about Zach Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers after the season ends? It's premature until we see how the season plays out, but it's something to at least think about. Because unless they plan to concede, unless they plan to accept their fate and start planning for 2024 now, assuming they're going to go out and try to win the games, if that effort is successful, they got an issue. They got a problem. And it makes our business more compelling and more intriguing because it gives us some interesting things to talk about and watch as they unfold. But with every victory, starting potentially this weekend, if they could go down and physically smack the Cowboys in the mouth and show them that the other team from New York is not going to be a pushover.
Yeah.
And if they would steal that one, holy crap, that changes everything.
No question.
It's just something to think about, something to have some fun with.
Yeah, I hear you.
And maybe, Chris, maybe, I don't know who would want to trade for Aaron Rodgers coming off of the torn Achilles, but to track the Brett Favre career arc, it would be a trade to Minnesota, who may be looking for a quarterback.
Yeah, it could be.
I think
could
we'll
be
looking for a quarterback when this season ends.
Yeah,
so,
it is. It's
the next
funny.
data point,